All right, Shalom. I want to first start off giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, the men that taught us this truth through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, and peace and blessings on to the hopeful elect. And this is just going to be a quick response to, or a quick response video, starting with the video that the Apostle Tahar did called Circumcision, What Does It Mean? And I believe the Apostle Ramlab and the Elder Yashawamba, and I'm sure there's probably other brothers that did response videos to the title Circumcision, What Does It Mean? So I didn't get a chance to watch all of I watched a little bit of the Apostle Ramlab. Didn't get a chance to really watch his video, all of it. I watched a little bit, and then the Elder Yashawamba, I didn't get a chance to watch his video that he did. So I may bring out some of the same scriptures or the same scripture that they brought out. I'm not sure, but that's okay. You know, this word is going out. As long as this word is going out, you know, that's what I meant to say. As long as the word is going out, it's all good, you know. You got this clown, Vocab Malone, and you have basically the wacky ass, simple-minded so-called Christians that don't have a clue what this Bible is talking about. And especially when it comes to who salvation is for, and they don't understand what the circumcision is. Well, some may understand what the circumcision is, but they definitely don't understand what the uncircumcision is. Okay? Like, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that clown Vocab Malone knows that the circumcision represented the Israelites that was keeping the laws, that was raised up in the law, okay? Knowing that they were Israelites. But when it comes to the uncircumcision, he believes, and this is what the average Christian, so-called Christian, believes, is that the uncircumcision is talking about the other nations, okay? So I just got a couple of scriptures, and I want to make a point on a particular time period based on the scripture that I'm going to bring out. This is not this scripture, it's going to be the next scripture. This is Romans chapter 2 and verse 25. It says, "For circumcision verily profiteth if thou keep the law." So the ones that was keeping the law obviously had to be the Israelites that knew that they were Israelites. They were born understanding that they were Israelites keeping the law. Okay, it says, "But if thou be a breaker of the law, thy circumcision is made uncircumcision." Okay, so then that leads me to the next scripture. Speaking on the uncircumcision, you know, and the uncircumcision at one point, if you go back and you do your study on history, okay, you'll find out that at one point they were circumcised, okay, meaning the ones that Paul went out to speak to minister to and to give the gospel to were Israelites, the uncircumcision. And it was the reason why they were called uncircumcision is because of something that happened to them in if you go into the history, okay, which was they lost their identity through slavery. Okay, they lost their way of keeping the law through slavery. Okay, and I want to make this point. I'm gonna bring out the scripture in just a minute. You know, it's a common scripture we bring out all the time, but I'm gonna bring it out again. What sense would it make for Paul? Well, okay, if you know history, you know that the Israelites were under captivity under the Greeks. And if you study the history, okay, you'll know that it was many Israelites that lost their identity through the Greek captivity or Greek slavery. And they started following the ways of the Greeks, and on down the line start speaking the Greek language and following the Greek customs. Okay? So knowing that it wasn't just the Israelites in Judea, okay, that was just it. If you know history, you know it was a remnant, okay, that got back that really stayed in the land or got back in the land of Israel, okay. And then there was Israelites that was scattered throughout that region during that particular time in the transition from, well, really the end of the Greek, or during the Greek Empire, Salakia, on to the going into the Roman Empire. Okay? So you telling me Paul is just gonna skip over these Israelites that then lost their way, their identity, and just go and preach and put in all that work, wrote all those epistles to the other nations? You gotta be out of your goddamn mind. He just gonna skip over the Israelites that lost their way and identity and just go to the other nations. And that's the reason you would think that is because you don't know history. Okay? Now, let me bring out this account. I'm gonna go ahead and close this video up. Close it up. Or close it out. This is 1 Maccabees chapter 1. And I'm going to start at verse 10. It says, and there came, well, I started at verse 7. It says, so Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule, everyone in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. Now, this was the Seleucian dynasty, okay, starting with, and the Seleucians, the Ptolemies, Cassander, and Lysimachus or Lysimachus. That's a hard one for me to pronounce. I believe it's either Lysimachus or Lysimachus. I don't know if I'm getting the name or the pronunciation correct, but that was the 4 generals that came into power after the death of Alexander the Great. This is what we're reading. It says, so did their sons after them many years, because really Cassander and Lysimachus, they pretty much fell off quick, okay? And you can go and do your history on that, how they fell out of power. And then it was really just the dynasty of the Seleucians and the Ptolemies that stood, okay? It says, so did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been in hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. It says, in those days went out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathens. So this was wicked Israelites back during that time period that went, okay, and got a license, okay, permission to do after the ordinance of the Greeks. These were Israelites, okay? It says, and it said that device pleased them, okay? It says, then certain of the people, I read that already, Salakia, verse 14, whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the custom of the heathen, and made themselves, this is Israelites, that stopped following the laws, okay, and the way of being the Israelite. It says, and and made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant. Just like I read earlier in Romans 2:25, it says, if you be a breaker of the law, it says the circumcision, but if thou be a breaker of the law, thy circumcision is made uncircumcision. Okay? So the circumcision is Israelites in the New Testament, and pertaining, that's Israelites, and then the uncircumcision that Paul went on to preach salvation to were Israelites, because salvation is only for the nation of Israel. Okay, and this has been brought out many, many times, man. We're gonna keep bringing it out and keep shoving it down your wacky ass Christian's throat, man. Okay, I'm gonna read that last verse again. It says, and made themselves Israelites, okay, following after the ways of the Greeks and stop following the laws, made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief. So with that, I'm gonna close this video out. I hope it was edifying and exhorting to the spirit. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, the men that taught us this truth through the spirit, and peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect. Shalom.